Hey guys, this is Steven here with another video on how to play some logic puzzles. This one's on Binero, also known as a Takuzu, or Tic-Tac-Logic, or Binairo, or ones and twos, and many other names. The rules state that each cell must either be black or white, or in some cases X's and O's or zeros and ones, but either way, each row and column must have an equal number of black cells and white cells, and no more than two cells of the same color may be orthogonally adjacent to one another. And lastly, each row and column must be unique. So you can't have the same pattern repeat twice in a column or row. So that's it for the rules. Pretty simple. What I'm going to go ahead and do is try to solve this puzzle for you guys and share some common tips and tricks that'll hopefully make it a little bit easier for you guys. So how it works is they're going to start off by giving you some clues in the beginning. And let me straighten this up here. I feel like I've got this out of whack here. There we go. So the first tip that I have is when doing these, know your grid dimensions. So here we have an 8 by 8. So in every row column, we're going to have 4 black cells and 4 white cells. So that's really helpful to know. And then we're going to be looking for adjacent pairs that we need to block, or pairs with a gap in the middle that we need to split up. So for example, these 2 black cells, we can't have a third one on either side. So we're going to make those white on either side. These 2 white cells need to be blocked, so it needs to have a black cell. Same here, these 2 white cells need to be blocked because you can't have 3 in a row. So same thing here. When you have 2 in the middle, you have to block it off on both sides. And when we have a gap like this, we have 2 white cells with a gap in the middle. The middle cell can't be white because then there'd be 3 in a row. So we make that black. We've created a pair. We can block that off. Here's another pair that's split. We need to keep them split. What else here? Here's 2 whites. We can make a black. Here are 2 whites with a gap in the middle, so we have to split those apart. And then the other thing to keep in mind is that you can look for areas where there's already a majority, and if you put an extra one of those majorities in, it can often lead to forced triples. And I'll see if I can come up with an example of what I mean by that. But oh, here, yeah. So here we already have 3 black cells and only 2 white cells. If we put a 4th black cell here, that'll finish that row for black, and then you would need 2 more white cells, but then you'd have 3 in a row. So we know that in fact this can't be a black cell, that has to be white. And so that is really helpful for a lot of situations. Same thing here. We know that this cell and that cell, either of these cells can't be white, because then that would be the 4th white cell, and we would need 3 more black cells, and that would create a triple there. So we know that neither of these are white cells, therefore they have to be black. Here's a pair that we need to keep separated. And here in this row we already have 4 black cells, so we need a 4th white one. And what else is going on here? Here we have 4 white cells already, so we need 2 more black cells to make that 4 and 4. We have a 4th black cell, we need a 4th white cell in that row. And let's see, what am I missing here? Oh, here's a pair that needs to be kept apart. Here's a pair that we need to block, another pair that we need to block. And now we have 4 black cells in that row, so the last 2 are going to be white. Here's a pair that we can block. Here's a pair of black cells that can't become a triple. We have 4 white cells in that row, so we need 4 black cells. And let's see here. This column already has 4 white cells, so we need 4 black cells. So that last one's going to be black. Here's a pair that needs to be separated. Okay, so here's one where I think, let's see, we have 3 white. No, that's not helpful at all. I apologize. Oh, here's 2 black ones in a row. We can block that. So there's 4 white cells. Here's a pair that we need to block. Here's a pair we need to separate. And we're going to be almost done here. I apologize if I'm not catching these things fast enough, but my mind seems to be blank today. Here we go. Here's a pair of white cells that need to be separated. That creates a pair of black cells that need to be separated. And we already have 4 black cells in that row, so we need the last one to be white. There's a pair of white cells that need to be separated. We need a 4th black cell in that column. And here we have 4 white cells, so we need the last 2 are going to be black. Those create a pair we need to separate. And now these 2 bottom rows are almost identical, right? But you can't have identical ones, so you can see these 2 have switched around. But that's it. We're going to solve this puzzle right there, and that is how you do it. So fun. It's easy. I think it's a good starter, a good logic puzzle to kind of warm you up. And if you're brand new to logic puzzles, these are a great place to start, as there's not too much going on. And yeah, I think it's kind of an appetizer to some of the more complicated logic puzzles out there. Is it one of my favorites? No, I think it's pretty simple. To make it more complicated, you just simply make the grid bigger, do 9x9s, 10x10s, 20x20s. But for me, making a grid bigger is just, that's not a way that I would want to make a puzzle harder. So, but that's it. That's Binero, or Tic-Tac-Logic, however you want to call it. If you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.